Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our virtual service today at FirstU. Because of today's storm, we are coming to you from Zoom today. But we're going to begin with the sing-along prelude as normal. This one can be done in a round. We did it as a round a couple weeks ago. This is There Is a Love by Reverend Dr. Rebecca Ann Parker. And if you would like to join me in singing it, please do. If you'd like to come in a little bit later and make it into a round, please also do that. There is a love holding us. There is a love holding all we love. There is a love holding all. We rest in this love. There is a love holding us. There is a love holding all we love. There is a love holding all. We rest in this love. There is a love holding us. There is a love holding all we love. There is a love holding all. We rest in this love.
Thank you very much, Jen. I'm Chuck Shields. I'm a member of the board, and I have a couple of announcements for us this morning. First, due to a previously scheduled outside rental, the date for the 2025 AGM has been rescheduled to Saturday, May 3rd, between 3 and 6 p.m. We chose to schedule it on a Saturday afternoon instead of a Sunday after the service because there are no Saturday or Sunday afternoons available in late April or early May. Stay tuned for more information and details, and please mark your calendars to attend. Help us meet quorum. And remember that providing a proxy will contribute to us meeting that quorum. And also, and this is a special time-sensitive announcement, Time and Talent, the Time and Talent auction is back. After several year pause for global events, the TNT auction returns. This is a silent auction designed to build community while raising funds for our precious FirstU. Popular items in auctions past have included at-home dinners, cottage visits, games nights, local tours, bike tune-ups, help in the garden, or with other chores. Also, specially baked treats, custom pottery, and any other special ability you have. What can you offer? What will you bid for? With a late April auction date approaching, it's time to get creative. The deadline for submitting offers is the 7th of April. Offers or questions can be sent to Time and Talent Coordinator David Chernyshenko at david@davidc.ca. That's david@davidc.ca. Thank you very much. Over to others.
Thank you, Chuck, and bonjour tout le monde. Welcome, everyone, to the First Unitarian Congregation of Ottawa. Yes, we're coming to you virtually this morning due to the ice storm expected this weekend. We're recording this for you on Saturday afternoon. We had planned on having Sandra Randall of Ottawa's Bethany Hope Center as our social justice offering Sunday guest this morning, but we thought it fitting to invite her back when the weather promised to be a little bit better. We hope that you are and will be able to remain warm and safe, and we look forward to being back together with you in Worship Hall at 30 Cleary next Sunday. And before I continue, I should make it clear that I'm the Reverend Eric Meter, this congregation's lead minister.
And I'm Alexis, your worship associate this morning. We acknowledge that the FirstU campus is located on the traditional, unsurrendered, and unceded Algonquin and Anishinaabeg territory, and that the work of reconciliation is a responsibility of our congregation and of all Canadians. Our goal is to educate ourselves and all those that have the willingness to understand, to be of service to those at risk, and to advocate for justice. Let's join our voices in song once more. Please rise in body or in spirit as we sing There's a River Flowing in My Soul, which is number 1007 in the Teal hymnal. Lyrics should also be on the screen.
There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my soul, and it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my heart. There's a river flowing in my heart, and it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my heart. There's a river flowing in my mind. There's a river flowing in my mind, and it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my mind. There's a river flowing. There's a river flowing. There's a river flowing in my soul.
Thank you very much, Jen. As health challenges continue, do take care and take advantage of online opportunities at FirstU to stay in touch. If you're new to FirstU and would like to learn more about us, please contact us through the email at welcome@firstunitarianottawa.ca. When you're able to join us in Worship Hall when conditions are more favorable and would like more information about FirstU, it's available at the welcome table at the back of the pews. We encourage you to sign up to receive the EUU, our weekly email newsletter. Sign-up information is available on our website under the EUU Weekly Newsletter tab. You can access the EUU through the website. Check our Facebook and Instagram pages and our website for notices and updates. Our calendar continues to be as full as ever, though some of our activities take place online. This morning, each of us is welcome. We of any heritage or faith, whatever our burdens, of any culture or race, of any gender or orientation, in any body, all that we are. Today, we are all a part of this spiritual community.
Thank you, Alexis, on this inaugural session of your being one of our newest worship associate. And we were getting ready. It was named, this is a trial by fire, doing this in advance. Thank you, Alexis. You're doing great. This morning, our theme is, will the net appear? With a question mark. And this is a question of faith. We light our chalice this morning to these words of welcome from Audette Fulbright Folsom. This light we kindle is set in the lamp of our history. We inherit this free faith from the brave and gentle, fierce and outspoken hearts and minds that have come before us. Let us be worthy inheritors of this faith, and through our good works, pass it boldly to a new generation. I'll light the chalice in just a second while we're singing our chalice song.
Chalice, chalice, burning bright, help remind us with your light of how we'd like to live each day, with love and truth helping lead the way.
Good morning. I am Jody McIntosh, the Director of Religious Exploration, and my story this morning is all about having the courage to take a chance. The story is called What Do You Do with a Chance? And it's by Kobe Yamada, which also wrote our story last week, which was titled Maybe. So here goes our story. One day, I got a chance. It just seemed to show up. It acted like it knew me, as if it wanted something. I didn't know why it was here. What do you do with a chance? I wondered. It fluttered around me. It brushed up against me. It circled me, and as if it wanted me to grab it. I started to reach for it, but I was unsure and pulled back. And so it flew away. I thought about it a lot. I wished I had taken my chance. I realized I had wanted it, but I still didn't know if I had the courage. When another chance came around, I wasn't so sure, but I decided to try. I went to reach for it, but I missed and fell. I was embarrassed. I felt foolish. It seemed like everyone was looking at me. I decided I never wanted to feel this way again. So after that, whenever a chance came along, I ignored it. And the more I ignored them, the less they came around. Until one day, I noticed that I hadn't seen a chance in quite a while. It was as if they had all just disappeared. I started to worry. What if I don't get another chance? I know I acted like I didn't care, but the truth was I did. I still wanted to take a chance, but I was afraid. And I wasn't sure if I would ever be brave enough. And then I thought, maybe I don't have to be brave at all. I don't have to be brave all the time. Maybe I just need to be brave for a little while, the right time. I realized it was up to me. I promised myself that if I ever got another chance, I wasn't going to hold back. If I got another chance, I was going to be ready. Then, one seemingly ordinary day, I saw something shining far off in the distance. Is it possible? I hoped. Could this? Could this be my chance? I had to find out. I ran as hard and as fast as I could towards it. I don't know how to explain it, but the second I let go of my fears, I was full of excitement. It wasn't that I was no longer afraid, but now my excitement was bigger than my fear. As I got closer, I could see that this was a really huge chance. But this time, I was ready. As it came by, I reached out and grabbed it. I held on with all my might. It felt so good to soar, to fly, to be free. I now see that when I hold back, I miss out. And I don't want to miss out. There's just so much I want to see and do and discover. So, what do you do with a chance? You take it, because it just might be the start of something incredible. Thank you very much for listening to my story this morning.
Thank you, Jody. That was an incredible story. Each week, we pause in our time together in recognition of the joys and sorrows in our lives and those across the globe. When we're in our worship hall at 30 Cleary, we honor our celebrations and challenges by placing stones in small bowls of water. Unless you're equipped with both of those right now, let's simply use our imaginations this morning. What are you carrying with you? What would you like to share? Is there a burden you would like to sit down? Is there something you are celebrating, something you can't contain that you need to share? As we imagine what we might share this morning, imagine the ripples of placing those stones in water out beyond, through our screens. That's the easy part. Out into our families, into our communities. Each of us touches the lives of all of us around us. I'm thinking of those who have suffered the earthquake, and the death toll seems to be rising as I speak now. And I know that so much more is going on in all of our lives. Our caring cards will return next week, but let us simply sit with for a moment in stillness, and then Jen will play us back into true community.
Today's reading is from a sermon by Reverend Lisa Day titled Will the Net Appear? And before we begin, this sermon was published prior to this weekend's circumstances, so for further context, we'll have to pretend we're in a room with dozens of people. Will leap and the net will appear, or will it? In a moment, I'm going to ask you to raise your hands, indicating your agreement with one of three statements. When I do so, in addition to raising your hand when you hear the statement you most agree with, take a look around the room to see how many hands are raised for each statement. This is one of a series of questions we ask in newcomer classes, an activity designed both to help participants begin to discern and articulate their core beliefs, and to show the wide range of beliefs in any group of Unitarian Universalists. I'm going to tell you the same thing I tell newcomers. Don't worry about definitions or nuance. Don't overthink. Go with your initial gut response. The three statements are: I believe the universe is friendly. I believe the universe is hostile. I believe the universe is indifferent. Okay? Ready. Raise your hand if you believe the universe is friendly. Now raise your hand if you believe the universe is hostile. And now raise your hand if you believe the universe is indifferent. Despite urging you to answer from your gut without agonizing over definitions or speculating about nuanced situations, I struggle with this question myself every time I ask others to answer it. Intellectually, I usually land on indifferent, though by that I really mean something closer to neutral. You see, friendly, indifferent, and hostile are human attributes, and it is unwise, I think, to project them onto something as vast and as non human as the entire universe. Yet, despite my intellectual leaning toward neutral, I believe each of us, including me, consciously or subconsciously, lives as though the universe is either friendly or hostile. That is to say, on the whole, each of us either trusts or doesn't trust everything from the rising of the sun to the intentions of strangers, from the findings of science to the authenticity of gestures of kindness. We live either as though we have to be on guard against and in control of all possible eventualities, or as though sometimes we can leap and the net will appear. Leap and the Net Will Appear shows up visually in the movie Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, in the scene where Indy steps off a cliff, expecting to fall into an abyss, only to have his foot hit a solid land bridge spanning the chasm between him and the goal of his searching. The bridge has not been visible because it's constructed of the same stone as the walls of the abyss, a sort of three-dimensional optical illusion. Quitting a job, going back to school, moving to a new city, state, or country, entering a committed relationship, becoming a parent, joining the military, ending a relationship, changing careers. Our lives are full of moments that might seem like stepping off a cliff with the real possibility, probability even, that we'll fall into an abyss. But often, sooner or later, we take the step away, not so much because we believe a net will appear, but because we desire what's on the other side of the abyss so much that taking the step isn't optional. It's required if we are to live the life we are meant to live. Just as Indy wanted to find the chalice, a drink from which would save his father's life, enough to risk his own life by taking the fateful step. So we take the step, take the leap, and does the net appear? Does our foot land on solid ground?
Thank you, Alexis. The author of the reading Alexis just shared with us, Lisa Day, is an old friend of mine, actually. Lisa and I met before either of us started seminary, and for years now we've been part of the same UU clergy study group. She serves our sibling congregation in Savannah, Georgia. Each week on Sunday evening, Lisa posts her sermon from that morning on Facebook. I often read what she says because she's brilliant, and I especially liked her talk from last week, which Alexis began sharing with us. When I realized that we would need to pivot and invite Sandra Randall to another Sunday further into spring, I thought of this, and I'm going to continue sharing Lisa's sermon with you from last week. I really hope we'll have the opportunity to talk about it. This was going to be one of those Sundays where we have an after church discussion. As of recording this, I'm not sure if we're going to be able to set that up on Zoom or not. If we are able to, there will be word on the church website indicating so, and I imagine it will be a Zoom call. So let me continue where Alexis left off, and we'll continue with what my friend Reverend Lisa Day had to say to her congregation last week. Continuing from where Alexis left off, and I'll repeat that last line. So we take the step, take the leap. And does the net appear? Does our foot land on solid ground? Lisa continues, I suppose each of us can point to times in our lives when the net did not appear, when taking that leap resulted in heartbreak or financial hardship or estrangement from family or a crisis of self-doubt. When taking the step entangled us in a relationship or a career or business transaction that brought us not closer to, but farther from the life we know we are meant to live. Each of us can probably also point to times in our lives when the net did appear, when taking that leap brought us into deeper connection with our family or community, when taking that step opened a way before us toward a meaningful career or purposeful service, toward giving to the common cause and receiving intangible blessings 100-fold beyond what we risked. Probably our answers just now about whether the universe is friendly, hostile, or indifferent were shaped by whether, in our experience, the net has appeared more often than not on balance throughout our lives. As Lisa continues now, I told you a moment ago that when forced to choose, and that's only fair since I ask others to choose, intellectually I consider the universe indifferent or neutral. It simply is, without friendly intent or hostile intent. I just can't get past the folly of ascribing human attributes to something so vastly non-human as the universe. But spiritually and theologically, I want to cast my lot not so much with those who say the universe is friendly, as with those who believe the net will appear, that something, God, the nameless mystery, creation, the spirit of life, perhaps simply the universe, will catch us when we take bold, seemingly reckless, yet ultimately necessary steps out over the great abyss that dot the landscape of our lives. I want to cast my lot with 14th century anchoress and mystic Julian of Norwich, who declared, all shall be well, and all shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well. And with 19th century Unitarian preacher Theodore Parker, whose words from 1853 inspired the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. Quoting Parker here, I do not pretend to understand the moral universe. The arc is a long one. My eye reaches but a little ways. I cannot calculate the curve and complete the figure by experience of sight. I can only divine it by conscience. And from what I see, I am sure it bends towards justice. Unquote. When I'm not grounding myself sufficiently in prayer, silence, and contemplation, this belief that the net will appear, that all will be well, that the arc of the moral universe bends towards justice, strikes me as naive optimism at best, hollow, disingenuous fantasy at worst. Every day's news, not to mention all of history after all, is filled with stories of times the net didn't appear, or wasn't strong enough to catch and cradle to safety the ones who took necessary leaps. Here's the thing. I remember, however, when I do sit in prayer and silence, when I read widely among the poets and prophets and people of faith and conviction, when I am in conversation with ministerial peers and eavesdropping on the social media feeds of upcoming generations of brilliant and faithful colleagues, in short, when I am tending to my spirit, I remember that the arc of Theodore Parker's moral universe stretches out beyond the limits of our sight, and that it was through conscience, not strict observation of the political and social realities of his time, that he believed the arc to bend towards justice. And I remember that Julian of Norwich didn't say when all will be well, only that it will be so. Even more than that, when I'm grounded in my faith, I remember that Parker didn't promise that the ark would bend without human intervention. In fact, as a staunch abolitionist, he was committed to human action as a means of achieving justice. I know less about Julian of Norwich than I do about Parker, but I choose to believe that her conviction that all will be well, even if grown from her mystical experiences of Christ, doesn't preclude the possibility that we have a role to play in ensuring that outcome. I recently saw a 2018 clip of Stephen Colbert and Neil deGrasse Tyson talking about supernovas and whether or not they are a rare phenomenon. deGrasse Tyson said, "If you have a sample size large enough, rare things become common." For days, I've been trying to figure out if that is a comforting fact or a terrifying one. I've decided to be mostly comforted by it because being only terrified by it is fantastic and robs me of the conviction that we have power to bend the arc of the moral universe, to tilt the scale toward all manner of things being well, to be ourselves the net that appears for kin, strangers, neighbors, communities that take bold, necessary leaps. And I refuse to give up that conviction. I believe that we, individually and all together, in the fullness of time and in ways we may never know and certainly can't fully comprehend, are the hands that toss, catch, and set up right again our companions on the earth, and indeed toss and catch and set up right again civilizations and the very future of all that is. I believe we are part and parcel of the God that is all love, created by it and creating by it day by day through our living as though, sometimes all evidence to the contrary, living as though the universe is a vast source of blessing, as though a net will catch us when we leap faithfully into our next act of co-creation of the world we want to inhabit. May it be so. Amen. And Lisa, thank you for the permission to share your wise words with the people I love and care about so much. Alexis?
Thank you, Eric. Now we come to the time of our offering. Due to current weather conditions, we encourage our donors to contribute by visiting firstunitarianottawa.ca and clicking on the Make a Donation tab. This congregation has a long history of care, vitality, and bringing people together to move the arc of justice forward. We've been able to live into our hopes and dreams because of the generosity of those within and beyond this community. Whether you join us in Worship Hall or anywhere else, you are part of this community. We rely on one another to keep the congregation vital and resilient. If you have any questions about how you can give, please go to the website or contact our finance manager to find out how to make a donation or keep up with your pledge. Our gifts are freely given and gratefully received. We dedicate these gifts to the work of this community of faith, serving human wholeness, caring for the planet, upholding religious freedom, welcoming the stranger, loving one another. And now let us sing together once more. Please rise and embody your spirit as Jen introduces and leads us in singing We Would Be One, which is number 318 in our gray hymnal, and the words will be up on the screen.
We would be one as now we join.
Thanks, Jen. We look forward to leading worship from Worship Hall next week, where we'll also enjoy, once again, coffee hour, the grocery support program, and Mia's Cuisine for lunch in Fellowship Hall. And again, please check the church website for news on whether we will have our after-service discussion via Zoom, I imagine, after this service. Now, as we prepare to extinguish our chalice, let these words, often credited as being a Tibetan proverb, guide us forward. The secret to living well and longer is to eat half, walk double, laugh triple, and love without measure. Our chalice is extinguished, but the spark of faith remains in each of us. Jen, will you please bless us again by leading us in singing Spirit of Life? The words will be up on your screen. We'll sing it as usual, first in English and then en français. Jen?
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Birds hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Source de vie, jaillis en moi, insoufflant mon cœur, des élans de compassion, chante dans le vent, danse avec la mer, anime la main qui façonne la justice. Dis-moi, ciel, emporte-moi, source de vie, éveille-moi, éveille-moi.
Thank you, Jen, again. Hearkening back to Lisa Day, I believe, and I do, that we individually and all together in the fullness of time and in ways we may never know and certainly can't fully comprehend, we are the hands that toss, catch, and set upright again our companions on this earth, and indeed toss and catch and set upright again civilizations and the very future of all that is. As now we return to the challenge and the joy of helping the world come alive again in love, let us go forward with love in our hearts, sowing seeds of justice from our hands, and with peace in our steps. Go in peace, my friends. Go in peace.